So welcome to Google Slides 2.0.
Hi.
And I know I love Google Slides so much that there's enough for 3.0 and 4.0. And I'm going to try to go quickly so that I can cover a lot, but also I'm leaving out other stuff. So the first thing, this is the agenda, which is was hard to cut down to 2 pages. Trust me, I had like 4 or 5. So the first thing up here, this on the title, is a link to just some examples I had from for some ideas for maybe some distance learning for both programs that some people already use in the district, and then just some ideas for just different people. So I'm going to go through it really quick, and then I see somebody in the chat. I'm assuming someone's going to break in and let me know if it's anything that they need to know. I guess I'll go back here and let you know the survey link is at the beginning and at the end of the agenda, and is also at the beginning and the end of the slideshow. So the first
So I
thing,
just want to make sure, is that Christine's survey? Because that's the only one they have
absolutely,
to do now. Okay.
absolutely it is. Okay. So the first thing is really great reading, and I don't have access to the full program, but I'm going to tell you that if you do, they use Vimeo videos instead of YouTube or anything like that. So they're basically like copyright protected. No one can download them. So you would have to link anyways, but this is a free program that they have, I believe, where the kids can do like some phonics work. And so you can attach any sort of activity, and then I have a PDF like the directions for the parents there. So just one example. Panorama, again, very similar to what our friends from MLK had done. That just to show which, this is, I believe, a 5th grade science book. And so I took a screenshot, and then you're actually able to put in, oh, I deleted the audio file because I'm a genius, that I was able to put in links of me reading the text. So there's a couple of pages of that. And then here is one of the activities. I basically just took a screenshot and put it over here, and then made a little interactive area for them to type. Discovery education. I basically just looked up by standard a social studies lesson plan. So this was the first activity, is to look at this picture, and then this is what it said, the text that was with it, and you can see the citation down here. The next thing they wanted them to do was, this is kind of like the questions that they wanted them to think about while they watched a video. And so I actually did download it from Discovery Education and put it into my Google Drive so that I would be able to go ahead and attach it. I didn't actually attach that video. Imagine Learning, I know only a few schools do it, but I grabbed some worksheet activities and slapped them on there. Special Ed Extended Standards. Yes, I deleted my audio files. I was messing around. But anyways, this is this actually came from the ODE, alternate assessment testing. So you can put in the audio clips actually for each part, and then just all they have to do is move the arrow to whichever one they think is appropriate. ELL, here was a Frayer model for ELL. I just put in some text boxes. This was from the OELPA reading for, I believe, 5th grade. They were supposed to read this, and then I was gonna, they were supposed to select the sentence, but here they're gonna highlight the sentence that answers the question. For a Spanish teacher, here is an example. They play a video. They can practice with flashcards. They're using Quizlet, learn more about it, and then there's a link to Google Forms. For art, here's a couple, there's a A2 example. These were actually made by Nadine Gilkison. She's one of the ones that was one of the people that really got into HyperDocs. So there's like a video, and then how you would actually apply it. The teacher did a screencast, and then some ideas for extensions. For older kids, the color wheel, how to apply it, and extensions. Similar for physical education. They actually do have QR codes here too. So if they have a mobile phone, I was actually looking at this and it made me sick just watching it because I cannot work out. Music. So this is K through 3. They explore the song, they apply it, and then here's an extension. It's another version of the same song. For older kids, they're talking about theme and variation, which I don't know about, but this is their analogy that they use, or their metaphor, theme and variation. And then after listening to the music, they're supposed to create 12 variations to the original. Example for career tech. And then they would describe the welding technique on the left-hand side. Here is a dental hygienist. And then they would talk about what's happening. There's a couple examples for reading, which I know we're using Panorama anyways, but I just wanted to just show you, like, basically Slides is amazing because it's for everyone. Everyone can find what they need in it. Are there any questions about any of that? I'm going to go in depth of how to do stuff.
You have nothing yet.
Okay. All right. So the first thing I want to talk about is themes versus templates. So a theme would be like what I just closed.
I'm sorry, there is a question. The question was, how do you do a screenshot? So I don't know if you're going to get to that, but somebody was asking, how do you do a screenshot?
I know Andrea had done an awesome job in the Screencastify webinar, and I believe not next week, but the week after, we're going to be doing different screencast tools. If we have time at the end, I can show you, but Screencastify is actually an extension that a Chrome extension that you have. Sorry if I can.
I think it was just for a picture on how to take a screenshot.
A screenshot itself. Yeah. If you have a Mac, Tiffany can tell you how to do that, which is supposed to be easy.
Yep, you just hold down Command, Shift, and 4. And when you do Command, Shift, 4, it's your whole screen, and it's like a target, and you just make it as big or small as you want. And there's it sounds like a snapshot, and it will save for you.
Okay. And then if you have the teacher laptop, if you go down, I know yours looks a little different because I have Windows 7, you guys have Windows 10. I think yours is, your search bar is like more over here. You just start to type in snipping tool, but I know when I was working with Cheryl, it's called something new, snipping something. The newest version, and then you would click on it, and you just click new. Now it's not going to let me. Rectangular snip. And then I would just kind of drag and take a picture, and I can save it, I can copy it, whatever. But to use it for in Slides, we're going to be saving it. So I recommend saving it either into a folder or into your desktop and then clearing it out when you don't need it anymore. Oh, sorry about that. That was super loud. It's probably going to happen again. I am so sorry. Okay. So anyways, as far as theme goes, do you see how my color scheme is basically the Youngstown colors? If I were to click theme up here, you would get that's basically like your color scheme. And a template is more like a pre-designed situation. So I'm going to show you some examples of some templates that I found on Slidesmania, which are kind of awesome. So something that I've been seeing over and over and over again for distance learning is it's hard for all of us because this is new to all of us. So if you're planning on using Slides, to use the same template so that your kids can get used to it. So this one right here, and they're linked at the bottom of the agenda. It says our week, and then If they were to click on this, it would take them to Wednesday, their first assignment. Everything is linked. There's actually a video right here that shows you how to change things. So this is Monday's first assignment here. You can have a video that they could expand, or you could include audio directions, and then there's their activities, their images, whatever it is that you want them to do. If you don't want them to do 4 activities for Monday, you can just delete some of these slides. And then it will go on. If they go to the house, it takes them back to the first screen. So that's just one idea. But once you get used to it and they get used to it, it's kind of comforting because they know exactly, kind of like what Andrea was talking about the other day with Google Classroom. Her kids knew exactly what to do every time they came in the room. This will be similar. So if they want to get a hold of you, they can click here. If you don't want that, you can delete that part. If you're doing office hours or whatever, maybe your Zoom link, your Meet link, or whatever would be there. And then here is where they would go, say I want Wednesday, and then these are my activities. And again, everything is editable, and I believe there's a video for this one as well. This one is more of like a choice board, or maybe for more primary. And again, you can edit the words also. So this is today's activities. You have the other option to have it say choice board. And then there's like 6 activities that they can click on, and it will take them straight to it. And this will actually link them to their Google Classroom. So just from what I've been hearing, it seems like it's a good idea to have consistency, to try to have us all be comfortable during this situation. Do we have any questions about that?
No, you just had a comment earlier that Cheryl just said, I didn't know snipping tool and screenshot were the same.
Oh, okay.
But other than that, you're good.
Well, a screenshot sometimes can be like the whole screen. The snipping tool can be just parts of it also. Depends on what you want. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is I'm just going to go ahead and open a blank slides presentation. And I'm actually going to go over here and use my little tab resize to split myself so that I can try to keep myself on track as I get super overexcited by what I'm doing. Okay, so you can see that the default layout for slides is a horizontal. And if that's conducive to what you're doing, awesome. If, on the other hand, you'd rather have it be more vertical, like say a notebook piece of page, you go to File, and then Page Setup. And then you can see that you have some options here: widescreen, widescreen standard, which is smaller, or custom. So I would click on custom. You have the option here, inches, centimeters, points, or pixels. I mean, if you want to be super particular. If we just go with inches, I can switch this to 8.5 by 11, like a piece of printing paper, and click apply. And instantly, you can see the layout, basically portrait versus landscape. And this will make it easier to print if I choose to do so at some point in the future. So going from there, I know I had some examples just yesterday. You can change the background to create interactive text boxes, drag and drop activities. So I had a couple of examples here. An interactive text for like a more intermediate, I believe this is a 7th grade math problem. It's a question, and then they have places to answer. So if I were going to do that, I know I had looked over here. I just searched, I don't even know what I searched. Something about high school example. So I clicked on this one, a book review, because I know that I could put interactive text boxes there. I am in no way, I'm going to say this very clearly, in no way advocating copyright infringement or anything like that. This is purely to show you an example. So again, if I were to use my snipping tool, and you can see it's kind of grayed out, I'm going to move this off to the side. I'm going to try to grab the corner, take a little picture of this, and go ahead and click save. I'm gonna call it book, whatever. Save it to my desktop. So then I am done with that. I can go back over to my slide presentation. I'm going to go ahead and scroll down to the blank page because I'm going to fill the whole back of this, the whole background, with my picture. So that way students can't move it or mess it up. Are there any questions about that?
Nope.
If I go to slide, I can change the background there. If I click right here, I can change the background here. I can also simply just right click and click change the background. I have the option to change it to any color that I want, but instead I'm going to choose an image. I'm going to upload it from my desktop, and I know I called it book. So there it is. I'm going to open it up. And there we go. So you can see that now the background, if I tried to move this or do anything, I can't mess it up. That is actually the background of the slide. If I want students to be able to enter interactive text, I just have to click on text box and then make some little boxes here. Since there's already existing boxes there, I can leave it as it is. Or I can go, you can see that there's a little pencil here. That would be the outline, the border. I can click and make it a brighter color so that they can see exactly where it is. I can make the line a little bit thicker so that they can see where I want them to write. Basically, you're just going to personalize it like that. Is there any questions about that?
Nope, just wow, cool.
Okay, awesome. I know. I'm going to convert you all, whether you want to be or not. Okay, so this was another interactive text example. Okay, so that was just one. Drag and drop activities are basically exactly what it says. You drag things and you drop them. I'm going to open up this a little bit bigger so we can see, and you can see that here is our slide, but off in the gray background, you can have items there that they end up moving in or whatever, dragging and dropping. I will try to, making myself dizzy. Open the more intermediate. Sorry, takes a second. And again, this is the one that I showed yesterday where they have the cell terms and then they can move it. I think it's a little bit unfair because boxes are different sizes, so you can kind of tell what type of word is there. But then again, I don't know all the answers to that anyway, so who am I to talk? I'm sure that Brian does. I'm sure that probably Andrea and Tiffany do. Okay, so how are we going to do that? I think that I had just went to Teachers Pay Teachers and grabbed this. So I think I'm going to go ahead and just go ahead with my, and see I'm all out of sorts because I use a different type of program.
While you're doing that, Rachel, Brian wants to know if it's important to set up the font for the text boxes.
You can, definitely. Unless you don't care and you want them to be able to do that. It's up to you. I know I'm a perfectionist, so I probably would do it, but it doesn't have to be like that. So again, I just took a picture of this. And I know it's a little bit more complicated. So again, I'm going to grab, it's going to be probably a two-step. Yep, and I used the wrong thing. So do you see that I grabbed the wrong thing because it has a text box there? I can just go ahead and delete the text box, which my easiest way to do that is just pull it out and then delete it. Or never mind. I'll show you that in a minute. Okay. So it's probably going to be a two-step process because I have to be able to have things to drag and to drop. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing. Change the background, choose my image. I called it science. Open it up. But you can see, again, it's a little bit blurry right now. I'm doing this quickly. As a perfectionist, I would actually fix it, but I'm trying to let go. You can see I don't want everything all put together. So I can go ahead and put a little rectangle here to cover this up again. You can see it has a blue border, so I'm going to go to my little pencil here and either make it white or make it transparent so that you can't really see that it's there. Then I'm going to go ahead and download this slide as a PNG or a JPEG. So I'm going to go ahead and show it in the folder, and you can see that this is what it looks like. And you can see that it's in my downloads folder. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and get another, actually blank slide, sorry. Go in here, change the background, choose my image. Now I'm going to go into my downloads folder. There it is. So now you can see that they cannot move the background at all. I'm going to have to go back in. I'm going to use my other tool that I usually use, which is called Jing, so that I can take each one of these, take a little picture. Just going to call it 1, save it, go back over here, and then I'm going to insert my image. And I called it 1. And there it is. I know it's not perfect, but then you can have kids move them around and match them. Are there any questions about that?
Cheryl said, can you do that again?
Which part?
I'm assuming though, starting with Jing, how you
Okay.
made the box and then pulled it over.
I'll go back to snipping tool. How about that? So I did the first one already. I'm going to go ahead and actually, to do this, because it's blurry, I would probably actually download the item. You can see this is in my snipping tool. I'm going to just go ahead and save it to my desktop, call it 2. Go back over here, insert an image from my computer, call it 2. There it is. Open it up, and then you can see it's really small because I didn't actually download it. And then I could have these be over to the side. Actually, before I took this picture, I could have drawn or inserted the little boxes too to slide them into, if I was really being a perfectionist, which I would be. Did that answer your question, Cheryl? Or are there any other questions?
Just Heather saying her video's lagging, and Cheryl said, yes, that did answer her question.
Okay. So now I can go ahead. I'm going to show you, if you right click, first of all, I don't know if you know, you're able to drag and drop over here, or if you go down here and you go to the grid view, you can drag and move things about to reorder things. If you right click, you can go ahead and delete the one that I don't need. I should probably call this something. Okay. And then my title will update. All right, so I'm going to go back here so I can figure out where I'm supposed to be. Oh, interactive table of contents, easy peasy. All right, so I can go ahead and I'm just gonna go ahead and grab something like this, call it table of contents. And then, I know this is like really small, so I'm gonna make it bigger. So I'm gonna call the first activity that we did was a book review. And Slides is awesome. I know it's not the only Google tool that does this, but you can link to things. So I'm gonna go ahead and click link. But in Slides, I can click on slides in this presentation rather than linking it to something else. And I can pick the next slide, which actually is the book review. Click apply. So if I were to click on that, it would take me there. And again, I could put a little home button to take me back to the table of contents, et cetera, et cetera. So the next one I believe that we did was the scientific method. Hello. So I'm going to go ahead, click link again. I want the slides in this presentation. And I could see down here, this is my title slide. This is my table of contents. I know that this was my book review. And then this is going to be my scientific method one. So if I click on here, it will take me automatically to there. So this is something that you can do for students if they're younger and you're gonna just give them like a whole unit at a time. And then you can just say, you know, I want you to click on whatever it is, the scientific method, and go there and do that today. Or if you have older kids, teach them how to do this, and then they can keep, you know, as they create stuff for their unit, they can have a table of contents that will help you to see stuff easier. Any questions about that? Okay.
Not currently.
Okay. So for cropping, I'm going to go ahead to explore here. You could also go to insert a picture. I'm just going to, actually, you have to click on there to be able to type anything. There we go. And I'm going to find a picture. You can just go ahead and drag it in and then resize. But say that I don't want to resize, I actually want to crop it. I would just double click it and you can see it turns into cropping. So then I can just go ahead and get the part that I want. I know that we did this and then I click outside of that and you can see how easy that was. I know that we did that with our Bitmojis. Like say that, just gotta drag and drop that in if I can. And say that I don't want it to say I'm so tired. I could double click on it and try as much as I can. To do that, I might have to actually, you can actually crop it. If you go up here to crop, a little down arrow, I could try to crop it as a shape. Oops. So maybe this would be better. Oops. I did not do that right. Never let it be said that eye-hand coordination is my strength. So you can see that I can barely even see that. Anyways, there's little angles here that if I were the little blue, I'm not going to be able to do it. But anyways, there are little angles there. I would be able to get rid of it and make it perfect, but I'm not going to be a perfectionist right now because it's not the time. Formatting. So basically, if you have anything, words, anything, if you select it and click format options, there's going to be choices over here. Your size and rotation, position, drop shadow. Do I want a drop shadow behind my picture? Do I want a reflection? You see how I'm like in a little lake? Actually, it looks like I just have a really long torso. But you can do that to anything. You can do that to your words. I can select anything. And make it look exactly how you want it to. I know if you insert a video, let's go ahead and go there because eventually I'm going to anyways. We're going to start talking about inserting. So insert image. Again, you can upload it from your computer. You can search the web, which is the same as clicking explore down here. From your drive, photos, by URL. Sounds funny, but actually, let me go ahead and go back like this. If you want a GIF or a GIF, depending on how you say it, and I'm going to go ahead and move my tab over here. I would go ahead to find my GIF or GIF, and then I would click on it. And you can see it says copy link. I'm going to go ahead and copy that link, and I'm going to paste the URL there. And once it loads, I'm going to insert it, and then it's going to look exactly like how I feel. So again, easy to insert pictures, but just to remember that for a GIF, you're going to need your URL. If you want to do a selfie session, you can use your camera. I know that Tiffany said that on the Chromebooks, the kids don't have the cameras open all the time. So just to keep that in mind. Inserting a text box, you can go ahead and do that wherever. And again, you can go ahead and change your font and your font size, et cetera. And that is like so small, I can't even. Any questions about any of that so far?
Nothing so far.
Okay, cool.
Cheryl
So-
had a question that says, is there an easy way to know how to not do copyright issues with images?
With images, I know that if you're searching in Explore, anything that comes up here, you're able to use them. If you were to go out to Google and say, I wanted a dog picture, I click on images. Over here, it says tools. So if I click on that, you see how it says usage rights? So I can click on that. Labeled for reuse, so you can reuse it and change it. Just labeled for reuse by itself. Labeled for non-commercial reuse with modification, with us because we're not selling anything with it, using it for educational purposes, or just labeled for non-commercial reuse. So you can see that if I click on the last one, non-commercial use, it's different pictures than just generally. So now I know that any of these I'm able to use free and clear. Did that answer your question? Also, I'm going to talk about it. I was going to talk about it a little bit later, but if you go to add-ons, now I'm going to have to think about what it is that I'm trying to say here. Oh, Unsplash images. If you add the add-on Unsplash images and you click to open it up, everything here is copyright free. So if you searched for something, I didn't say copyright free, it's free for reuse, is what I'm going to say. Does it not work to drag and drop? Oh, it just took a second. Whoa, and then hey, look at me, I just flipped it. Okay, any questions? Or did that answer your question?
That was it.
I'm so sorry. Oh, you guys need to be quiet. Okay, so of course, I was about to do audio. I think I'm gonna skip that for a hot second. Video, very cool. You can insert any sort of video. You can do it by URL if you know. Again, this is from YouTube. Anything that you have from your drive, which could be your own screencast, anything that you downloaded from elsewhere, anything that's shared with you, or you can go ahead and search. And find what it is that you want. Say I want this one, go ahead and select it. And then the cool thing is your format options automatically start up. So I can go ahead and start watching this over here. Ooh, that's like so loud to me because I have headphones on. Say that I have already watched it and I know that I want it to start at 1 minute and 10 seconds and go until, let's say 3 minutes and 30 seconds. I can choose, let's just say 20. I can choose exactly the part of it that I want, and then it will only show them that part. So that's a cool little option there. Audio, I'm going to go back to that. Using the Simple Audio Recorder Chrome extension, which again only works in Chrome. I know I talked about it before. If you go ahead and you click on it, it automatically starts recording you. And you can see that it's counting up. I click it again, it stops. Here it is down here. I can go ahead and click on it. I'm going to choose Show in Folder. I'm actually going to go ahead and open my, because I try to keep everything organized. Now I have my audio files right here. So I'm going to go ahead and drag and drop my recording in there. You can see that it's loading to my drive. And I did learn you have to leave them in here so that your presentations work correctly. Then I go ahead and insert audio from my drive. There it is right there. I'm going to select it. And there it is. And I can make it bigger. And you click on it, it automatically starts recording. So you can see that you can put that on anything. It's easy. Other ways to have like a voice on your phone. You could do it that way also. Just save your recordings to your drive and then you'll have access to that. If you're smart, you're going to name them so that they don't look all the same. But some of us are perfectionists in some ways and not in others. Okay, as far as shapes go, very easy. I'm sure that everyone knows how to do this. I'm going to go ahead and add another file because I'm starting to freak myself out with having stuff there. So add a shape. So I'm going to choose a rectangle. Again, say I want the border to be red. I want the fill color to be green because I want to make myself go blind. So the cool thing is if you right click on your shape, you can see how it says edit text. I can make this a text box. So rather than trying to line up my text box and my shape, I can go ahead and if I knew how to spell, which I don't, I would be able to type right in there, make it nice and big, go ahead and center it. And then there, that way, if I want to move it, it all stays together. So maybe you already knew that, but if not, it's just a thing. You do have the ability to insert tables, which is exactly the same as in Google Docs or in Word. Insert a bar chart, a column, line, pie. I would recommend that you would have it coming from a source in Sheets, because otherwise, if I just go ahead and insert a column chart, it's going to put something really random in here, and it's going to tell me to go ahead into Sheets and edit my data. So if you want to do it backwards, that's fine. but I know like what Tiffany was talking about yesterday with the forms, like if you were collecting data regularly, you could just go ahead and import that into a slide easily. Diagrams, if you're that kind of person, there's choices here. I know I saw something else, I can't remember what it's called, but there's this other like super technical program with diagrams that Google has. If you want to go there, let me know and I'll figure out, I'll try to remember what it's called. Word art. So I'm just going to go ahead and type something and then go ahead and I can move it up. I can change the color, etc., etc. If I want to edit it again, I can just double click on it and change it. Lines, easy. Insert an animation. You have to choose something. Again, I could just click it here and click animate. So you can see that there's no slide transition. That would be shifting from one slide to another. I know that used to be really popular in PowerPoints. I tend to not do that because sometimes I think they're distracting. But we can go ahead. Say I just choose dissolve. I could apply it to all slides or just have it be this one. For this object that I have, I could have it, I can have choices here. Fly in frame, either on a click or automatically after the previous one. So then I'm going to go ahead and play it and look quick. And if I love that, that's awesome. Otherwise, I can obsess over it for as long as I want to till I get it right. Okay, and if you need slide numbers, then that's another thing that you can insert. So, oh, and then a link, we have already talked about that. Basically, you can link inside of your slides presentation or to anything outside of your slides presentation. Keyboard shortcuts, there is a link to a whole bunch of them, like Control-C or Command-C, which is copy, Control-V, Command-V, which is paste. The coolest one that I think that there is actually, if you do either Control-D or Command-D, you can duplicate an object. So rather than copying it, like say if I copy a regular text box, if I copy a regular text box, and I'm going to be smart and make this big to start with, and say I have it shaped in a certain way, and I go ahead and I copy it, and then I paste it. It worked on sometimes if you do it on a different, it comes out in a different location and it's like a different shape. So Control-D is duplicate exactly. You also have the option, if you right click on the slide, to duplicate the entire slide. So format is there, and then you can just go ahead and say, okay, I don't need the video on this one. I'm gonna go ahead and delete it. I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of that. I messed up. I'm gonna go ahead and back and delete it. You also have the option to, okay, I don't have anything over here, to go ahead and grab some slides from another presentation. So you can see that this is like a circuit choice board. And you can see that they have activities. I'm going to wait for a second for it to load. So say that I like this one. I can go ahead, right click on it, and copy this slide. I know it's going to be a little bit odd because the layout is different. But say I wanted to go over here, right click, paste it. Now it's going to say, do you want to match style this presentation because this is more of a portrait than a landscape? Or I can keep the original style, so it'll be a different shape. Or I can link it, and this will take you, if you click on this slide, it can take you back to your original presentation. I'm just going to match it to this one. but you can see how easy it would be for those pre-made templates for pre-made activities that you can just go ahead and grab them, copy and paste them into whatever it is that you're doing, like say in a unit. Download. Again, I kind of showed you real quick. You have the option to download as a PowerPoint, download as a PDF, JPEG or PNG, which again, you're probably going to use those possibly if you're going to be using pictures as your background. Forcing a copy. There's a perfect example right here. So basically, when you go to share something, say that you, I don't want you to write on mine. I don't want you to just be able to view it or be able to, I want you to have your own copy. So if I get the shareable link and I copy it, like I go all the way down to the bottom, just down here, and I go ahead and paste it. You can see it says edit right here. And so what they're saying is you delete all of that and then you just put copy. And if you do that, if I were to go to that, I'm just going to go ahead and copy it. You see how it says it's forcing me to make a copy. So if I open this, I'm going to have my own copy. If you're using Google Classroom already and you just choose, if not, this is going to make sure that everyone has their own.
Can you were breaking up a little bit. Can you say that again about in Google Classroom?
If you're using Google Classroom already, you just make sure that you choose to have everyone have their own copy when you assign it. Then you won't have to worry about this. If you're not using it, this is a good way to make sure that everyone has their own copy and they're not writing over each other's. Are there any questions about that? And again, this links to the explanation of like how you would do different things, and there's the picture right there. An example of a study guide is actually the Spanish thing that I've already kind of showed you real quick, one page of it. And again, just like how they did on the how I did on the other one where you're able to make your table of contents. That's exactly how they do it on the templates, where you click on it and it takes you to the basically you use this to study or review, and then you do activities, and then you do a Google form quiz, a practice quiz before the actual tests, to use that as a study guide. Here's an example of a review game. It's called Change That Card. Apparently there used to be a show that was something similar. It has directions for the teacher that when you play it as a slideshow are not going to show. You see how they're kind of like, they're hidden. You can click on them and there's actually a video to, it's called Card Sharks. You can watch the video to get the idea, and then it gives you directions, and then it's completely editable, so you could play that as a review game. I know probably everybody's seen the Jeopardy game. Hyperslides. I know we've touched briefly on HyperDocs. Hyperslides is just a variation. These are just some examples. You can see that I go overboard all the time. I know this one, I believe, Study of World Religions is 6th grade, or I think 5th grade. I can't remember, but a minute. But for that, so basically it's like an exploration. You have essential questions, and then you do activities, you do a puzzle, you do different activities, and you learn about it, and then you do some work. So lots of presentation mode. Okay. Are there any questions? Sorry, I'm going very fast, but I also feel like I'm going slow.
I don't see any yet.
Okay. So if I click to present, you can see that I have some options down here. The pointer, which is kind of like a little laser psychedelic dealio. I don't know if it's going to work. It works, it's supposed to work, but you have the option if you click closed captioning that it is supposed to, and it usually does, but again, my audio is going somewhere else, that it types your transcription of what you're saying. So if you were to present this as you're recording a screencast, if you had a hearing impaired student or someone that needed that, that might be helpful. Otherwise, I know that in YouTube, you have the option to put closed captioning in, I believe, correct, Tiffany?
I'm sorry, can you say that one more time?
In YouTube, if you record, you have the option to put closed captioning in.
Yes,
right?
yes. It
Um,
automatically is set up, but you can edit it to make sure that it's correct, because it's kind of like, you know, Siri, when they try to guess what you're saying, you just have to be careful.
Definitely. If you need, like if you're presenting on a projector and you need your notes, you have the option for that. This Q&A here is actually for students. It's an audience Q&A. Just click to present. So, okay, thank you. So I have to click start new. So you can see that this is what I would see. I'm going to go ahead and minimize that, but I actually have to move this. If you guys were to go to this site, slides.app. And you can't even see it because I have it in this. Anyways, there is an address. If it was in like more of a landscape mode, you would be able to see it better, which I apologize for that. But kids can back channel basically as you're presenting. They can type questions here, but there is no sort of like, you can choose, it's very similar to Pear Deck in that you can choose which ones you want to show. So if I had questions here and I clicked on it, I could show that one and then go ahead and hide it. But there's no moderation, so someone could say something completely vulgar and inappropriate to you. You wouldn't have to show it, but you would definitely see it. So there's no sort of stopping that. And then when you're done, you can just go ahead and click off. So you could do that the whole time you were presenting, kind of collect questions and then review them at the end, if that works for you. I'm gonna try to find this so I can move it back up. Go ahead and actually, first of all, I should probably check over here. Yep, that's basically it. Are there any questions about any of that?
No, Brian just put up the link for you for the slides.
Oh, thank you.
He was trying to get on it, but you closed it.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. We could do that again. So then we could show. All right. So there you go. If you want to go ahead, Brian, it's slides.app.goo.gl/W capital G capital J 6C. So, okay, Tiffany's there. So say that it's an appropriate question. I can go ahead and click present, and that'll go out, to everyone, and it shows who said it, and then we can kind of discuss it as a class.
I have an option of when I put that in, I can send it anonymously also, though.
Yes, that's why, I mean, it could be completely inappropriate and you wouldn't have any idea of who had actually said that. So if it's something, I could just leave it hidden. If not, but again, I won't know who said what. See, anonymous. What are we doing? And at least it's still appropriate. I could choose to present that or not present that. But just to show you that it's like kind of like back channeling. But just to give you that warning that there's no way to control what they might put there. Again, you don't have to show it though. I know we're running short on time. basically, I know we've talked a lot about Pear Deck. Nearpod is very similar to Pear Deck, except for a lot of the templates you have to pay for. Add-ons, just a few. If you add them, I'm going to say Flat for Docs is for music teachers, basically. You can put music snippets in, which I know nothing at all about music. But if you did, you could get super into that. Icons for slides and docs. Again, this is all in the agenda. You can search for anything. And then you do have to actually click on it and click insert. You can't drag and drop. And then it will pop into your, so just to bring the cuteness. Paletti is basically like a palette, like an artist palette. So it's sort of more for that theme instead of like a white background. Say this is what I want. And I can choose my colors down here and get all artsy with it. And again, we talked about Unsplash images. I don't know that any of the other ones that I use a whole lot. Yep, that's basically it. I know I've talked about Simple Audio Recorder already. The Mote comment, there's an example in there. Again, that's only for commenting. Searchlight Presenter, that's basically a Google Chrome extension that will turn anyone's phone into a presentation remote for slides. Pear Deck Power Up helps the presenting of Pear Deck. And then again, I have collaborative slides templates, pre-made slides templates, a whole bunch of them, which I will continue to add to because I get obsessed. And then basically just general themes and a survey. So are there any questions or anything that I can do for you?
I don't see any questions right now.
Okay.
There is a comment that said, I learned a lot from Ryan.
I am so happy.
And Heather said that was great. She said, now it's time for her to play.
Yay! The more you play with it, the more you're like, you get into it. At least I hope so. Oh, I saw Cheryl's name and then it reminded me of one more thing. So I'm going to go ahead, share again real quick. Okay. So, actually what I'm going to do is, this is why I love this thing, is I'm going to undo that, glue everything back together, and then go ahead and move this. And here it is. So I need, actually I need this one. I'm so sorry. So this is what's going to change your life, Cheryl. I'm going to go ahead and move this over. So this, I love PDF.com. You can actually get it, I believe, as a Chrome extension also. So I know that you were using Ready Teacher Toolbox.
Yes.
Yes. So trust me, this is my spring break. If I click PDF to PowerPoint, again, it's a couple steps. If I download it, I just go ahead and drag and drop it. And it takes a little hot second to convert. Then I'm going to convert it to a PowerPoint. Takes a second.
Now, is this free?
Yes. You can only do one file at a time for the free version. If you pay for it, I think you can do like 10 conversions at a time. So if you're like a power user and you want to pay for it, that's cool. Otherwise, so I'm going to go ahead and download it. Show it in the folder. There we go. Okay. So now I'm going to go back to, no, this is not the one that I want. Here we go. Actually, I don't even know where I'm at anymore because I'm not. Okay. I'm being crazy. Sorry about that. I'm making myself dizzy. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and actually put it into my drive. Sorry. I'm like having a total brain fart. Put it into my drive because it's a PowerPoint. And as long as I have my little setting on to convert it to slides. And I feel like I dropped it in there, but I didn't see it start to load. So you see it starting to upload. Again, it takes a minute, but it's a lot easier than what we were doing. Oh, I feel bad now. It just took me a while to find it. Sorry, it's taking so long.
Is this going to be on the recording too?
I don't know. Is it still recording, Andrea?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay, because I'd have to go back and watch it.
Well, you know what?
You do that
I'll
too fast.
always help you. I'm always happy to help.
Brian,
Thank
said,
you.
what's the name of that add-on again?
It is called ilovepdf.com. And again, there is like a whole bunch of options if you go to the main screen. It's like a free sign up, to log in. You have all these different choices. I was only doing it to try to figure out how to help Cheryl. So you can see that it's here. It's I don't know why its data is okay, there we go. So you see when I went to open it in PowerPoint, it's opening it in slides. So here is your same worksheet. This is a little bit messed up. It wasn't like that before. But then I can go ahead and just put my little text boxes where I want the kids to answer. And then again, probably want to make it a little bit obvious where the text box is.
Hey, Rachel, I wanted to ask you something. You have to do, I tried to do, say for instance, they had to give 3 key details.
Mm-hmm.
You can't use one great big
Yeah, you would have to put
text box. You have to do 3 separate ones.
But see, now that we know about, let's see if I can make this smaller. Now that we know about Control D, we can just do that a couple times. And
Yes.
then down. And then our life is a little bit easier. I know that's
Yeah,
not
because I
perfect.
was having to go back and insert.
Again,
Oh,
not
yeah.
perfect, but a lot
No,
better
I
than what we were
understand.
doing.
Yes, yes.
Okay. And again, there is an extension, I believe, if you choose to go there.
Well, how do we get all those extensions up at the top?
I'm sorry, I keep stopping sharing my screen and I should not do that. So if you go here where it says apps.
Now, where did it say? Where was that apps?
And
I
near
didn't
the
see.
top left.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Right here.
Gotcha.
And you see it says web store.
Web store.
This is the Chrome Web Store, and then it's on extensions. And then I would just type in I love PDF. And then there it is. And then you just click add to Chrome and then whatever.
Okay, now where does it say if it's free or not? Oh, I see. This one says merge free.
And on the actual thing, I think you have the option to, it says pricing. If I can find how to get there. So again, a lot of this is free, unlimited tasks, but you're only able to do, what is it? Depending on what you're doing, you can merge 25 PDFs into one. Whereas if you paid, you could do 200.
Oh.
And then, you can convert 10 at a time versus 1 at a time. So it all depends on like.
When you say 1 at a time, does that mean 1 a day or just
1 at a time? Like I just converted 1 and then I could go and do another one. Whereas
Okay.
you could have a folder full of them and then just drop it all in. if you
Oh,
can
I
do it.
gotcha.
So,
Understood.
up to you. Are there any other questions? Can't believe I almost forgot that. Oh, you need a webinar just doing that. That's funny. All right. Well, I'm sorry I went a little over. I guess if nobody has any other questions, I hope you have a great day.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Always happy to help.